Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, my kings and queens, I'm so excited to bring a wonderful, outstanding, beautiful guest who you are going to absolutely love. And I'm not going to tell you much about it. I'm going to let her do that first. But I'm telling you all, if you are sitting and you have a seatbelt, put it on. If you're driving your car, pull over, because you are in for a treat for this podcast. So without further ado, Miss Jessica, would you please introduce yourself, please?
Oh, I would be honored to. Thank you, first of all, Derron, for having me. I'm really, really excited to be here and just, chat with you again. And I'm excited for this. But hello, everybody. My name is Jessica Moloney, and I am a breakthrough self-love coach, motivational speaker, and author. I empower busy, growth-minded women who feel stuck, needing to prove their worthiness to others, who are constantly comparing themselves to others on social media or real life, feeling that they're just not where they're supposed to be in their life. I help them to increase their self-confidence by creating a heightened level of self-awareness and self-trust so that they can truly learn to love themselves, break through old patterns of self-doubt, and begin to value their worth and manifest the relationships that they're looking for. This past year, I've had the honor of being featured in Times Square for sharing my message of love and empowerment. I was able to serve on a panel of experts relating to mental health. I published my own journal relating to helping other people really discover who they are to help them to change their lives. I got to speak internationally on stages. I had a one-on-one conversation with Jillian Michaels about self-worth and self-awareness. I got to host a couple of my very own speaking events. I spoke live on stage with Les Brown in New York City, and more recently live on stage with Vivica A. Fox. And I've helped over 200 clients break out of their mental barriers to live a happier life. In the end of this month, I'm actually hosting another workshop, a vision board workshop that I'm super excited about. And I will be participating in another women's event this upcoming March. And that's me in a nutshell.
If I was had one of them microphones.
I know, I need to get one of those. I need somebody to follow me around with that.
So Jessica, you have a lot going on. You are definitely a powerhouse. You all, I got to meet the pleasure of meeting Jessica in the Hungry to Speak group, right? Mm-hmm. When we was being mentored. We're both still mentored by Les Brown. But Jessica and I were we broke out into small groups. And so when Jessica, she didn't know it, but it's like a little competition for me because she's so dynamic in her speaking. And I'm gonna ask her to tell her story for you all in a little while. But when she first told her story, it was so motivational and so transparent that it really did make me look within myself to just see how transparent my story was. And so she was one of the speakers in the program who could just light it up. No doubt about it. And we'll talk about New York in a second. But I do want to ask you, Jessica, what inspired you to be a speaker?
Well, it's long story short. So, my life really, like all the things that I just told you, like that's the highlight reel, right? That's the social media reel. That's what everybody's comparing themselves to. Mm-hmm. And listen, it's really nice to be able to sit here and say those things because sometimes it's hard to recognize the things that we have accomplished. So I start with that, but what you don't see is that up until just a few years ago, I was somebody who wanted to disappear. Mm-hmm. And I was on stage in New York with Les Brown.
All right.
That version of me in this one is it's a totally different person. And that's why I'm so thrilled to be here with you and to have these opportunities to share what that story was, from wanting to disappear, desperate for others' approval, constantly comparing myself to other people because I didn't think that I measured up. I wasn't popular enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't talented enough. And I wasn't where I was supposed to be in my life, right? Right. That even getting older, seeing everybody else getting great jobs, getting married, having babies, and I grew up in a good family in a good neighborhood, but it didn't exempt me from depression or anxiety. It didn't exempt me from the attempt that I made on my life when I was the age of 15. didn't exempt me from becoming dependent on others to be happy or to determine if I was good enough. But it did propel me into becoming a licensed mental health counselor. But even that didn't exempt me from finding myself in a toxic and emotionally abusive relationship. I essentially put myself on the discount rack where I allowed a man to manipulate and gaslight me, not really recognizing what was happening to me. I thought that it was supposed to be my happily ever after, but I quickly realized why the fairy tales end after happily ever after.
Mm.
There's a great quote that I've said to you many times, right? But Lucille Ball once said, love yourself first and everything else falls into line.
Mm.
You really need to love yourself to get anything done in this world. That has become, part of my signature speech that you've heard 1,000 times, but it really resonates so true because it took me 5 years of darkness, essentially. But each time I looked at myself in the mirror and I made the decision to choose me, I got stronger. Each time I decided to set and hold a boundary, I cried a little bit and I cringed and I was like, oh my God, I can't do this, but I did it and I got stronger. I realized that, something had to change, that when it did finally change, I realized that my prayers went from like, God, please make it stop, to God, give me strength.
Mm.
God, give me guidance. God, show me the way, because there was something in me that I could do this. I just had to see it for myself. That once I found my way out of my darkness, I decided that I didn't want to have anyone go through that. No one to go through what I went through, especially to go through it alone. And if I have anything to do with it, no one will ever have to go through what I went through alone ever again. I found my way by choosing me and choosing to love me. I thought that was a bunch of like nonsense when people would talk about self-love. But like, once you realize what that feels like, and that's a real thing, wow, like that is a powerful thing. Choosing to stand up for myself and letting go of the guilt of doing so, and to take care of me. Because when you let go of that guilt of putting yourself first, knowing that it's not just you that benefits, that stuff radiates out. Because when you are good, the people around you can be good. That we do all these things for other people while sacrificing ourselves, but not realizing that if I do me, if I take care of me, if I choose me, that other people can benefit from that too. And now I speak to empower others and coach women on how to love themselves and change their narrative so that they can attract the relationships that they truly deserve and they truly want. Because it starts with you. And the realm of possibilities, again, we're so invested in other people, but everything you ever want is possible, because everything you ever wanted doesn't exist inside somebody else. It exists inside of you. And when we realize that possibility, the possibilities are endless. And now I'm just trying to get my message out there so that other people can recognize what they're really capable of.
Woo, what I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all? She ain't even got started. You know how the plane goes down the runway and they say clear for takeoff. She just got the clear for takeoff notice, y'all. I just hold on. But listen, Jessica, one thing I've learned in doing these podcasts is take a commercial break. And because I don't have any sponsors, I want to take this time for you to just tell the people how they can get in contact with you. And we'll do this again, but I'm learning to do within the podcast just in case I lose somebody along the way.
Absolutely. So my name is Jessica Moloney. You can find me on all social platforms at the Jess Moloney, and FYI, Moloney is spelled with an O, Moloney. People I've known 10 years still spell my name wrong. So you can find me on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at the Jess Moloney, or my website is jessicamoloney.net. And then my email is info@jessicamoloney.net.
I love it. So I want to go back now, right? So you was talking about the power of your story. And I believe that everybody has a superpower. And you seem to embody your superpower, which is transparency. Because I know I've heard you speak and I've heard your story, and it's so profound. The first time I heard it, I was literally in tears because the way you just said it, and it just came out of your soul like, woo, It's freedom right here. And so your story definitely has the power to change the trajectory of other women's lives and men, because it really did touch me as well. There's a part of your story, I'm going to get transparent with you right now, right? Because it's what I do on here, Jessica. You are a speaker.
Bring it on.
When you say, you broke me, I don't want to mess it up, but can you give the listeners a snippet of that, what led to that moment, and then your release into what you said, I started to choose me?
Sure. So, I mean, in my speech, I'll give you, the piece that we're speaking about. But again, like most of my life, I was very much a people pleaser, looking for love in all the wrong places, and essentially signed up to be a volunteer victim in my own life. It wasn't until an argument one night, an argument I had had countless times before, but this particular time, I just couldn't fight anymore. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced something like this, but just imagine feeling completely drained, hunched over crying, holding your heart in pain. And now as I look back at the old version of me, I can't believe I said it, but I finally screamed it. You have broken me. You broke me. I found myself in a relationship that I was lost, broken, and alone, but I still valued having the relationship over not having the relationship because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was outside of the chaos. He took everything from me. And I told him that you took everything from me. And as I stood there crying, trying to catch my breath, he stood over me and said, "You'll be a stronger person because you met me." And that was the moment I realized that I had surrendered. I allowed how he made me feel to dictate my thoughts, my choices, and the people I chose to have around me. And that was the moment that I decided that if anybody was going to love me, that I needed to love me. That if I wanted somebody to take care of me, I needed to take care of me. And it takes me back to that Lucille Ball quote, love yourself first and everything else falls into line. You really need to love yourself to get anything done in this world. And for everybody who's listening right now, I will tell you this, you have so much power and love inside of you. Let me ask you, what would happen if you started to give it to yourself instead of everybody else? What if you gave it to yourself first? I just feel so passionate about it. And there's so many people that I know just in my own life that are not putting themselves first. And I've heard every reason why. I know every excuse in the book, and I'm guilty of most of them. Even now, and it's not about doing it all the time, but it's about recognizing that I need to do this for me. And I'm sorry if you don't like it. I'm sorry if it doesn't line up with what you had planned for your life, but it's now time for me to take back mine, because I can't keep sacrificing myself for you, because then we all lose. So I really hope that this is something that other people can recognize that maybe they're doing unknowingly, subconsciously. We don't realize it.
Yeah.
So I feel very strongly about being able to help other people who are just, not taking care of themselves.
Jessica, I had the pleasure of speaking last Saturday on a recovering addict platform. And doing my research, you'll enjoy this. I found out that the 3 principles of recovery are authenticity, surrendering the outcome, and doing the hard work. And I feel like in my life, and I can relate that to your story that I know that you said before, that I see the same parallels. You first had to be authentic of how you was feeling and wanted to make the change. We all do. Second, we surrender the outcome. Just like you just said, which sparked this conversation, is that sometimes we have to let people go. if they don't want to understand, if they don't want to be on the journey with us, if they can't appreciate where we're trying to go, sometimes you have to let people go, right? They just can't be in your circle. And that's one of the reasons why I really love Hungry to Speak, because it expanded my territory with people like yourself and other great speakers that we can name.
Absolutely.
But it almost is a community within a family. And then the third part of that was doing the hard work. So in order for you to be where you are right now, you had to do the hard work on yourself. Yeah. You had to love yourself. And I love that because a lot of times we don't choose ourselves. And we try to love others with a half full cup. And we're the one that's starving or dying of thirst because there's nothing to give ourselves. Yeah. So I appreciate you saying that, because that right there for me is just another reason why I believe in your story. And I know that many women are going to have a changed life because of you.
I hope so. And it's funny you speak about, like, you know, filling your cup. I heard Lisa Nichols speak once, and she spoke about filling your cup for you only. And if you've ever had a tea party when you were little, Derron, you know, you have your little teacup and you have your saucer underneath. That I'm going to fill my cup so much so that it overflows, and I can love you from my saucer.
Ooh.
Cup is for me. Right? You like that?
I heard that before.
Right? Your little teacup. Like, I'm going to fill my cup. I'm going to surround myself with people who add to my life. I'm going to choose me. I'm going to love me. I'm going to take care of me. And I'm going to work for the things that I want in my life. And I'm going to celebrate myself when I achieve them. And I'm going to fill my cup so much that it overflows. And then when you come into my life and I decided to give you my love, I give you my saucer. Therefore, if you take my love, my cup is still full.
Wow. Jessica, that's a keynote. That's a keynote.
That's a good thing, right? I mean, you think about it, because like everyone's like, you know, we talk about this stuff. Everyone knows, like, fill your own cup, or you can't, what is it? You can't serve, you can't spill from an empty cup, you can't give from an empty cup. So yes, we need to keep filling our cup, you know, because like, even if I keep the cup for me, like, you know, things spill, you know, we use some of that stuff. So we're constantly growing and evolving. And I think that we should always be learning and loving for ourselves, because that work is never done, not because you need work, but because you deserve to continue to love and grow and flourish. So I'm going to keep filling my cup, and whatever overflow I have, you know, gets to be given to the people who come into my life.
Wow, that was so profound.
I can't take full credit for it, though.
Yeah, but when you put your own twist on it, it's yours. You gave her credit. You gave her credit.
But let me tell you this too, because, you know, we're talking about Hungry to Speak in our small group, and, you know, you are somebody who truly inspired me with your words and just your energy, and, you know, being able to surround myself with people like you and our small group, you know, those are people that filled my cup. You know, surrounding myself with the people who share your vision and share that energy and that, like, that go-getter attitude, that, like, I'm striving for things in my life. That is such a powerful thing. So, you know, what is the saying? Like, if you're the smartest man in the room, you're in the wrong room. Yeah. You know, surround yourself with people who can really help you grow. Yeah. You know, and that was one of the most, like, profound things that I definitely got out of, you know, our group there.
I share that with you. And Rachel was so freaking awesome.
Oh, Rachel Harvey. Shout out Rachel Harvey.
I'm trying to get her on here, but, you know, she's too busy in those mountains right now, but I'm going to get her on here. We love us some Rachel. I want to ask you about New York.
Yeah.
You all listen. Jessica. So guys and ladies, kings and queens. So I got to meet Jessica for the first time in New York. So she was ready to blow. I'm going to throw you for a twist, Jessica. You get ready for this. You get ready for this. So you all, we were at the banquet. We spoke Friday and Saturday night. Jessica spoke both nights. I only got to speak Friday night. So we was at the banquet Saturday, you all. And Jessica had been told she was going to speak. And then it found out that the program had changed and she was not going to speak. And she was like ready to throw blows. She better throw blows, y'all. And then out of nowhere, this is how the spirit works. Somebody had to hear or needed to hear her message. So out of nowhere, she went from feeling upset, right? A little down, upset, pissed off. She got on that stage out of nowhere and rocked the mic because somebody had to hear your message. So I want to ask you about being ready and owning your story. How can you break that down for me?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I think that's what you have to do. You have to break it down. You know, when I first started telling people that I wanted to be a speaker, I was like, I have a powerful message. Like I've been through a lot. And they're like, all right, well, tell me about it. I'm like, well, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. And like, okay, we need to like get this a little more concise, you know? So I worked with a couple different people and it was great because I had a couple different perspectives, you know, different styles, and they helped me break down the story. And every time I broke it down, I broke down, you know, because I lived it. I went through it. I never told that story before, though. There's very few people that know that full story. So being able to get myself to a place of owning my experience, you know, it continued the healing process for me, you know. And when I told that person who, you know, is involved in my story, when I told him about what I wanted to do about becoming a speaker, his response was, why? You've never done anything inspirational. So, I mean, that knocked me down a little bit, but I was like, you know what? Like, F it. What do I have to lose? Let's go see how it goes.
Right.
So it was like, I'm going to sign up for 1 month, turned into 2 months, turned into 3 months, turned into like 10 months, you know, and it was one of the greatest decisions I ever made in my life, you know. So I went to sign up for that program 3 times. I literally put my credit card information in 3 times. And twice I was like, click out. I'm not doing it. But I'm getting off track. I forgot what your question was, my story, right? So, I mean, practicing it and speaking it into life and letting other people hear it and provide their feedback was one of the most valuable things that really helped me. You know, that day in New York, I mean, I was like flying high, butterflies and nerves and all the things. And I sat in that banquet hall, you know, at my table with my bullet points on my index card and being like, okay, talk about this, you know, because I wanted to make sure it came out right. There's that piece of perfectionism inside of me that still exists.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there and I'm going over it. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm practicing, like, make sure you say this. And then I get call up and they're like, oh, no, sit back down. We're going to do something else. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't know what's happening. And then I try to be tough sometimes. And I was pissed, but then I was also like, don't cry. And then all of a sudden it was like Jessica Moloney. And I was like, oh my God, like I wasn't going over it anymore. Like, I'm not ready. But like you said, I love what you said, actually, that there was somebody out there who needed to hear it, you know? So I got up there and I spoke from my heart. And I found like that was a great teaching moment too, because I find that when I do speak from my heart, it's felt, it's heard and it's felt. That I talk a lot to a lot of different people and I can say a lot of things, but when you feel it, it's different. The words stay different, you know? And that's one thing that, like, you know, I think that you are great at, being able to make people feel things, you know, because you've read these things before that we hear people talk about all the time, but somebody says it the right way, it just sits with you differently. And that's why they say that, like, your voice is going to be heard by people that don't hear my voice and vice versa. And I think that that is a powerful thing. But if you have a story, stand in your story. Don't stand outside of it. You stand in it, you stand on it. It is your pedestal. It is the reason that you are here. You're not here in spite of your story. You're here because of it. So when we stand upon our story and then be able to deliver it, I think it resonates more with people.
I agree. And the reason why I asked you that, because I remember trying to console you that day. And when I was preparing for our interview, I went back to that moment. And I remember, Jessica, one day I was doing a stage play, my very first stage play. And everybody on the stage was, they were experienced actors. And the day before the play, before curtain call, I got my script like, and one of the actors came through and smacked it out of my hand. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You know it." I'm like, "Man, look, we ain't like that. You need to chill." He's like, "You know it." He said, "Let it just flow." Right? Let it just flow. And so when they did curtain call, I just went with it. And even if I missed a word, nobody knew it but me and the person I was acting with. And then a point of improvising comes in at that point. So when you just said what you said, that before you hit your bullet points, bam, 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 bam. And then when they didn't call you, you put them down. Let's go. Somebody smacked them out your hands. When they called you back up, you went from your heart. And when I tell you all that I was at a table of 6, and she was right in front of me. There was so many cheers and so many women that was looking at you, telling your story from your heart. And when you hit that, "You broken me," that came from your soul, not from your gut. And I can tell you that the 3 women at my table and some over there it was not a dry spot. So I believe that was done for a reason. That's why I say somebody there had to hear your story that way, not the bullet point way.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's just the insecurity that still exists, wanting to make sure that everything comes out the way I want it to, making sure that, I'm delivering what I feel like everybody needs, but it's not about what I feel that they need. It's about what they actually need, so it's something I'm coming to terms with. But yes, New York was an adventure, and Derron was my passenger, literally, for quite the adventure through Queens and Brooklyn for hours upon hours and hours.
We had a ball. We had a freaking ball. We had a ball.
Yes. I mean, I recruited Derron to come with me because I was sent on a pickup mission to get some supplies for the event. And I was like, I don't know if any of you are from New York, but I live on Long Island, so I know what it's like to drive through the city. And I was like, not doing that by myself. So I was like, "Oh, hey, Derron, we want to come with me. It's going to be fun." And it took us hours to drive all the way to Brooklyn and back. But we made the best of it.
Wait a minute. Only to find out that what we went to go pick up, they had delivered from the same company. Remember, was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, the truck was there. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And tonight, I told you, right? I got a friggin' red light ticket.
All right, hold on one second. Let me get you back. I don't want you to go back there too far. All right. Tell us about your journal.
Oh, yes.
You have a beautiful journal, which I gifted. I need to buy another one from you, but I gifted it to my daughter, my youngest daughter. So I need to get another one from you. But let's talk to us about your journal.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to. So it's called the Breakthrough Self-Guided Empowerment Journal. And, as I was going through my self-discovery process, I had to ask myself a lot of hard questions. I had to do a lot of soul searching, and I didn't have a guide for that. I didn't have a person to help me through that. And I mean, maybe part of me was afraid to admit like what it was like to actually see myself for the first time, to take accountability for why I've had the relationships that I've had in my life. I'm not saying that I'm at fault for all of them, but I had to see myself, the things that I did that contributed to a series of toxic relationships. What choices did I make? And why was that something that I allowed or settled for? So I took all of those thoughts and all of those questions and I put them into worksheets and activities to help other people to really get to know themselves and to try to figure out who they are and why they do the things that they do. And there's a couple of worksheets in here. There's a series of pages for that. And then I have like long-term goal setting pages in the specific areas of life that I think that we're all very conscious of, between your social life, your career, your personal life, fitness goals. We have goals in a lot of different areas of life. And I think it's important to break those down. And then I have daily reflection pages, setting, small goals for the day, positive affirmations, being able to reflect on how your day went at the end of the day. Because the first thoughts you think after you wake up and the last thoughts you think right before bed are the things that tend to stay with you the most, because our brain is in a more susceptible like state of influence, that you're more likely to remember and believe the things that you hear right before you fall asleep and right after you wake up. So I encourage people to use this journal at those times of the day so that they can really get the most out of, what we're putting down on paper here.
Yeah. My youngest daughter, the one I gifted it to, she loves it. So she is a journal person, and she told me that this is the best journal that she's had. And she
I'll
is.
write that down somewhere.
Hey, you know what? I will tell her to give you a picture and give you a testimonial. And she's in her last semester of her MBA program, so she says she finds it very, very useful.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So but I need one for myself. So I'm gonna have to send you something so I can get one for myself. And she took it.
I got you. I got some on hand right here.
Jessica, let's do a commercial break.
Okay.
Tell them folks how you can get a hold of you.
You guys can find me on all social media platforms at the Jess Moloney, and Moloney is spelled with an O, Moloney. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at the Jess Moloney, or my website is jessicamoloney.net. And my email is info@jessicamoloney.net.
That's great. So I got about 10 more minutes. Can we do 10 more minutes?
Yeah. But
Okay.
listen, I'm in for it.
All right. So listen, one of my favorite movies is Kill Bill.
Okay.
And you got to speak with one of my favorite actresses with the best fight scene ever. You all, Jessica got to share the stage with Vivica Fox.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
Oh, I mean, phenomenal. Like, you never know how people are going to be in real life, when you see them on movies or TV or things like that. She was honestly the sweetest woman that I've really had the pleasure of meeting. She was very kind, very open, and very welcoming. I gifted her my journal and I got to take a photo with her. And as listen, I'm somebody who's always cold. We were just talking about this. Like, I'm freezing all the time. Like, it's currently 17 degrees. I have my heater on and the heat in the house. Like, we're doing all the things. I have a blanket. Yeah. So I'm always freezing. So I was wearing a nice dress. This was just last month. So it was December. I mean, we're indoors, but I go up to like put my arm around her to take a picture, and she puts her arm on my waist and she's like, "Honey, you're shaking." And I was like, "I'm okay. I'm just cold and excited." She was like, and she grabbed me really tight and she goes, "Come here, let's take a picture." And she was just like so sweet. And, she got up there and she spoke her piece on self-worth, because that was the theme of our women's event. And, her message was very powerful, and being able to, really know who you are. And no matter what somebody has to say about you, they don't get to define you. That if you don't do things based on like the norms, or you don't fall into the mold, or you're not married, or you don't have kids, it doesn't make you any less than somebody who does have those things. Just because you haven't gotten to where you want to be yet, it doesn't mean that that's not where you're going to get. or maybe it means that you're destined for something even better.
Mm.
And she just spoke so many great things, and she told us about some of the challenges that she experienced in her life with, being in the public eye and having people kind of criticize her for her choices. But she was like, I did this for a reason. I didn't let what somebody else thought about it derail me, because listen, no matter what you do, you're always going to be judged by somebody, and it's probably going to be somebody who's not on your level.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. Drop that bomb. Come on. You're so right. You are so right.
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but it's very hard. Listen, I was a person like that, being very jealous of other people for having things that I wanted, having things that I didn't have. But I also didn't know myself well enough to recognize what I did have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, speaking with Vivica was, a pleasure. That whole event was really, really powerful. And again, surrounding yourself with women or other individuals who want to lift you up, who are in support of you, who can show you a path that, like, yeah, you can do this thing. Look what I did. And nobody thought I could, or they criticized me for it, or they said it was dumb. But, she's making all these millions of dollars. Nobody's laughing at that.
Ain't that the truth? When I seen that you was gracing the stage with Vivica, I was like, man, God is really moving in Jessica's life. And I know you killed it. I know you got up there and you just did your thing. How did that feel for you to, say your message in front of people that really can lift you up to different plateaus?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I just love it. Like, I love being able to be in front of people and, like, you see their reactions, you hear those I love the when they resonate with what you're saying, when you can see how that they've been in the same place that you were, and not knowing what their story is or how they got out of their places, but that you can, another story of triumph, another story of being able to discover and do the hard thing. Because as Les Brown says, do what is easy and your life will be hard. Do what is hard and your life becomes easy. And I followed that for the second half of my life, this second version of me, recognizing that that's true, because a lot of times we don't do the hard thing because we want to stay in the comfort zone. But the comfort zone is not comfortable, it is familiar. But we like to stay here because it's the devil we know. So I know how to survive in this. So why would I take a chance of things getting worse? But the thing is, once they get worse, you have the opportunity for them to get better. Right now in the comfort zone, we don't have that opportunity. So being able to step out and give yourself an opportunity to really grow, I think, is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And being on that stage, it was powerful. Women who have, we've all had relationship stories, and to be able to give them a message. And the best part is, when they come up to you and they're like, wow, I really like what you had to say, or wow, the same thing happened to me. That to me is like the best part, because I love talking to people. Like, I love meeting people and hearing their stories and knowing what they've done, because then I can, we can all take that and grow from that together. And that's power. I think power comes in numbers sometimes too.
Yeah.
So I love when people like reach out and let me know that there's something that I said that resonated with them. It's a cool place to be.
Powerhouse, honey. You are on your way. I'm glad I get to know you now. So look, I want to ask you about your vision board party. Okay, before we wrap up, can we get some information on that, please?
Yes, sir. So I am hosting a vision board manifesting workshop. It is going to be an experience. We're doing it pretty big. It's going to be here in Long Island, in Stony Brook. So if anybody is in the area, you can please feel free to join us. Reach out to me. I'll give you all the information. But the idea of a vision board, it's fascinating, right? Because like we all set our New Year's resolutions, our goals, but 80% of people trash their New Year's resolutions by the second week of February. So a vision board is actually something that like has been proven to help people stay more on track with their goals. It provides a level of accountability and it provides a visual because, like I said, when we are bombarded with messages, they become part of our narrative. They become part of the things that we seek out in the world. That if you tell yourself the same things every day, positive affirmations, if you see your goals every single day, it becomes something that you're exposed to on the regular, right? You ever listen to a song over and over again and the lyrics just come to you, right? Imagine if that was your vision. Imagine if that was a list of your goals. And then you can go out into the world and be like, oh, wait a minute, that's a thing. And that could help me get a goal, right? But if we're not thinking about our goals, that thing passes you by and you're like, oh, that looks kind of cool, but whatever. Right? Because we need it to be present in our minds. You know, it's there, but it gets filtered to the back, which is why people end up kind of quitting on themselves. So we're having a party. We're going to get really crafty. I have some great sponsors that are coming on, and I have a woman coming to do sound therapy session, which I'm super pumped about. You know, we're covering really mind, body, and soul at the event. And I've decided recently to stream it virtually. So if you're not here on Long Island, I have a virtual party that you guys can attend. You'll get all of the stuff that comes with, you know, the event itself, and you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. I'll give you a list of all the materials that I'll be providing so that you can kind of get those on your own too. But I would love to have you be a part of it. I think that, you know, we can all learn and grow together and get crafty.
All right, you all heard it first here. And I want y'all to know that I will be attending the virtual vision board party. So join me. I will share the link on all my platforms when I have it, and we can all sign up together. So let's make plans. I love how you said that if you can see it every day, you know, you can begin to manifest it. So I love that. So I definitely want to be a part of that.
Fantastic. Yeah, it'll be January 30th. It's a Sunday, 11:30 to 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. So that's the time it'll be streaming. And then listen, if you even can't make the event, like it'll be recorded. So if you want to sign up for the virtual event, you know, I'll send you the recording. You can kind of participate whenever you have the time. So, and I'll be speaking a little bit more about that brain chemistry stuff that I mentioned. So I can't give away all the details. But
body and spirit. Right?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. As in the words of Roshika, let's go.
Oh, row.
Oh, row. All right, Jess, we're coming to the end. So one more time, let's do a commercial break.
Yeah, let's do it.
Promote yourself.
So you can find me on all social platforms at the Jess Moloney. Last name is spelled Moloney. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can find me there at the Jess Moloney, or on my website, jessicamoloney.net. That's also where you can sign up for the vision board workshop. Just go under the shop tab and there will be the in-person event and the virtual event. You can also email me at info@jessicamoloney.net. Thank you very much.
Jessica, I love you. Thank you for blessing and burning down my podcast. Dag on you. Set it off.
Let it burn.
Thank you. I knew it was going to be phenomenal. So let's do this again after your virtual party.
Yeah, for sure. This is great.
Okay, great. So you all, I'm gonna let you all say goodnight to Miss Jessica. And Jess, hold on, okay? I'm gonna stop the recording. You all, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk with Derron Rowan. See you guys later. Love you.